is like when I was growing up, I used to watch a lot of the PBS documentaries, and I saw a lot of which every kid growing up in the 70s and 80s, those documentaries, Selma to Montgomery March, and I Have a Dream speech, and I've been to the Mountaintop speech. And for me, I had to know more about Martin Luther King. And being an activist, I exactly had to study. I just wasn't happy with just the books. And so I got involved with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And I would go to the SCLC conferences every year, and you would see Fred Shuttlesworth, Reverend James Bevel, all those individuals. They were all Martin Luther King aides, Reverend Al Sampson, and those some of the individuals I brought to Trenton, to speak on Martin Luther King weeks. And I remember going to during the 40th anniversary of Selma to Montgomery March, and it was a 5-day march. And I remember talking with Harry Belafonte, all those activists that marched for King, and what was King like? And they all would tell me that King was a brother to them. He was the guy that he was very, someone you can talk to, you can sit down sitting down at the restaurant, and individuals wanted to talk to King. King would invite them into the house, invite them to the restaurant, very accessible, at eating fried chicken, come sit down and eat with us, and let's talk about some of the issues. He said, Bevel told me that King was the type of person that he would sit down and listen to you, and he would definitely be concerned. And they had a brotherhood back in the day, in the 60s. And he said they were fighting for a revolution of the South, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and that King was one of the most sincere leaders. He didn't care about money, he cared about truth. And, going down there and talking with all of them, and especially Fred Shuttlesworth, and they were just telling me about the things that King, some of the truths about King, some of the untruths that people would say about Dr. King. And to me, King was very militant. And when he talked about, Charles talked about Vietnam and about the Poor People's Campaign, and I think that was one of the reasons why they had to kill him, this government. And, he was as much as militant as Malcolm. I mean, Malcolm was militant too, because Malcolm, he went overseas and talked about America. I mean, so you had two great leaders, especially Martin. Martin was, to me, was a revolutionary. He was a patriot. And I feel that a lot of the young kids don't really understand what Martin was about.
Now, Darrell, before you go any further, I mean, when you say that Martin and Malcolm were just as on the same level of, militancy, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
I think when Malcolm went to Egypt, went to those other countries and talked about America and the oil, and how America was using the Muslim countries stealing their oil. And that was a concern. It seems to me when you go, of all the great leaders that got assassinated, when you take it to another level, it's okay when you talk about using the bathroom. It's okay about a restaurant. We can go eat at a restaurant. When you get to that level of international, the money, then there's another, you can't do that. Who are you to talk about international? Who are you to talk about Vietnam? Who are you to talk about national poverty and calling America the greatest purveyor of violence in the world? You just can't say that. Who are you when Malcolm went to Egypt and all those other countries and talked to the Saudi Arabia kings and princes and said, listen, America, they're oil. They're coming after the oil. You need to be charging America more. It's once you go international, it's a big concern. As you know, they love Martin Luther King. They protected Martin Luther King, the government, from the Bull Connors. When he went out marching in other areas in Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee, all those areas, they protected King. They didn't want nothing to happen to King. But as soon as King went after Vietnam, Poor People's Campaign, you just can have that type of militancy coming to Washington, of poverty, talking about everyone is fair. We want the right money. We want our due. money. And what you have is, then that's when they view King as a threat. Once you win the Nobel Peace Prize, you want to take it to another level. And I think that maybe they talked about how that doomed Martin when he won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Can
Because once he got to that level, he went after the money problem.
in light of what you're saying and in light of what I'm hearing from other people around the room, can you, on the one hand, it was said earlier that, Dr. King was acceptable, and then on the other hand, it's been said that he was kind of like a revolutionary. So how does one, reconcile those two truths? I mean, or if...
Well, it didn't occur simultaneously. It was transition. Near the end of his life, like
Okay, so do that.
Darryl was saying, he became more engaged in speaking the hard truth like Malcolm X did.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Dr. King, he talked, you can look at his speeches from I Have a Dream to Why I Oppose the Vietnam War. There were two separately dreams. One talking about I've been to the mountain. I have a dream that we all come together. And after the bombing of the church for 4 little girls, then he talked about, well, my dream has now is a disaster. They made my dream a disaster. Then he talks about the Vietnam War. And all you got to do is one of the greatest speeches is the Why I Oppose the Vietnam speech. I mean, he seriously talks about America as this evil country. And we're the purveyor, and we're the killing people in Vietnam. We have turned Vietnam into a wasteland.
King said that?
Yeah.
He said that, bro?
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. That was the end. That's when they got rid of him.
That's when they had the funeral. And as you brought people, they had